I'm really amazed at how complicated this whole concept of feeling it real has been made in the manifestation community, the manifestation business of coaching and all of that. I've had so many clients come to me absolutely exhausted from straining and trying to really feel it real, feel the change that they want to make in their life. And this is because a lot of the advice that they're getting really only includes mental processes. They're really straining in their mind to feel something when feeling primarily takes place in the body. And I know some folks that give manifestation advice or processes will, tell their clients to go sit in the car they want to have or go to the house they want to have or, use a surrogate, use some kind of surrogate to gain the feeling, to gain the physical or somatic feeling of what they're wanting to create. But the challenge is with that is, not everybody has access to a surrogate, to use as a prop. In fact, some of the things that people want to create, a lot of things that people want to create, don't even exist yet. So, what does someone do when they don't have access to something something that physically feels like what they're wanting to manifest or create, something that they can use as a surrogate to feel it real? What does someone do when they don't have something like that? And I'm going to break it down very simply that there's really only one somatic feeling that goes with feeling it real. Now, there may be, different nuances to this feeling, like, excitement or sweetness or this and that. But there's really only one main somatic feeling associated with feeling it real. And this feeling has to do with why we want the thing in the first place. And it's the same for everyone because we're wired this way as human beings. So we want to create something in our life because it will help us express ourselves. We're driven as human beings to fully express ourselves. Like I always say, suppression equals depression, So we're always driven to express ourselves, and the expression is different for everyone, but what drives us as human beings is the same for everyone. We're driven by seeking the relief that we will feel once we have expressed this part of ourselves. And, expressing a certain part of ourselves may include, driving a Ferrari, So we're always seeking relief of pressure. I mean, that's how I refer to it in my practice with clients. But we're always seeking this relief of pressure by expressing ourselves. So feeling it real is really just feeling relief. And I've heard many manifestation coaches even say, when you get to the point when you feel relief, it's done. You know your manifestation is done. You know that you've impressed it upon your mind when you get that feeling of relief. And, a lot of people think that you get to this feeling of relief through mental processes, because they say, oh, you're exhausted because you're straining to feel it real. But, once you feel that feeling of relief, you'll know it's done. But here's the thing. That feeling of relief is felt in the body. So the easiest way and the fastest way to do this is just to go straight to the body. And there are some things, especially in the Neville Goddard teachings, that talk about the state akin to sleep, or I think they call it SATs. So what is it about this state akin to sleep, that's supposed to bring us to a state where we can feel it real, or where we can really impress it upon our mind, to focus on creating that thing in our life? Well, for a lot of people, right before they go to sleep is the time when they feel relief. They're laying in bed, they're letting go of the day, and it just feels like relief. Your head hits the pillow, and that's really systemically why this works for some people, but it doesn't work for everyone. So why doesn't it work for everyone? Because not everyone feels relief when they lay down in bed at night right before they fall asleep. Some people have insomnia. Some people start running their day through their head during that time. Some people have to do a sleep practice just to go to sleep, or take an herb, or some people even take medication. So the state akin to sleep only works for people that feel relief right before they go to sleep. So what about everybody else? Well, you really have to make your feeling of relief personal. What physical activities bring a feeling of relief for you? So for me, I like to do shibari, or rope practice. And I like this because every place I pull the rope around my body, I can really lean into it, and I just feel relief in all of my muscles. And it gives me something to focus on. I'm not thinking about the day, I'm not thinking about any chores I have to do. It's me and the rope or the scarf or whatever I'm using for my practice. And I'm focused on that. It's like I'm in a dance with this prop that I'm using. And everywhere I tie the prop creates a feeling of relief in my body. So find whatever it is that creates a feeling of relief in your body, and do that. And, do that thing, and while you're doing that thing, you're engaged in it. Your mind is not being pulled in other directions because your body is engaged in doing that thing. It's so much easier than sitting on a cushion straining mentally, to feel something only with your thoughts. Find that thing that brings your body a feeling, sensory information that you're feeding to the brain, that gives your body the feeling of relief. Engage in that activity and fantasize, fantasize about the thing you're wanting to create while you're engaging in the activity that brings you that feeling of relief. And try this, and you may be very, very surprised at how quickly things turn around for you. So if you stayed till the end of the video, I'll introduce myself. I'm Jax. I'm a somatic practitioner. I've been a somatic practitioner for over 20 years now. And this is a new channel. I decided to start this channel because there's so much left out in the manifestation and creation game that really takes place in the body. So I'm here to provide that to the community, and I look forward to talking to you again. So if you'd like to hear and see more of my content, stick around.